and I thought Aryabhata gave a very clear and a very cohesive account of the spiral path and how we get off the wheel, the samsaric wheel. And in a way, that's the real point of this whole teaching, is to get off the wheel of life, because it's not always a great place to be. But I'll say a bit more about that, I think, later on. So I want to also talk a bit about truth and the different modes in which we can communicate truth or reality. And I mention this because hearing Aryabhata speak so kind of eloquently yesterday, I thought, my goodness, I'm going to be talking about symbols and images today. And you have to speak in quite a different mode, when you're talking about symbols and images. And this aspect of the Wheel of Life, the 6 realms are really in the realm of symbolic meaning. And in Triratna, we talk about 2 different types of meaning. We can talk about the realm of defined meaning, which is that realm of logic and reason and concept. And then there's the realm of undefined meaning, and this is the realm of symbol, of colour, of form, of drama even, that communicates something. So both of those forms of communicating truth and reality are very appropriate and very necessary. So it's great to have the clarity, the intellectual clarity that we got yesterday. But also sometimes intellectual clarity won't touch parts of ourselves that don't get, parts of ourselves need to be spoken of or spoken to in a sort of different language. And this is the language of form, of colour, of story even. So I mean, humanity's been telling stories since we all left the savannah in Africa and sat around fires and told stories to each other about life and trying to make sense of life through telling story. So there are these 2 different realms of meaning. So today we're shifting mode really to this mode of symbol. And it does, I think in our Western culture, we really highly value, and we're really good at the sort of explicit truth, that truth of concept. And I think often the way we communicate in terms of symbol and kind of poetic truth is not quite so elevated. It's not quite so well done. So we have something like Harry Potter. Harry Potter is one of the most famous books, you could say, of the 20th century. And in a way, it communicated meaning. So just that idea of turning up at, was it platform 9 3/4 or something? I can't remember. And in that plot, you run at the wall and you'll go through it. Actually, it meant a lot to a lot of people. You could believe it. But it's how much truth or depth of truth is being communicated there. No, I'm not sure. It's great stories, really great stories, and really lovely read. So in Buddhism, what we try and do is we try and merge that kind of explicit meaning, that clear clarity of intellectual precision with symbol and image. So everything that Aryabhata was saying yesterday, we now have to take into what I'll be talking about this morning, because I'm not really going to go over that teaching that Aryabhata so clearly communicated yesterday. So everything that we go into today in terms of implicit meaning and symbol and myth, we have to understand it on the basis of what was said yesterday. So I hope that's kind of clear. So looking a wee bit more at the realms, these 6 realms that are there on the on the wheel of life. And it's interesting, yeah. Traditionally, these are seen as realms. In the 21st century, we often think of them as states of mind. But I just want to say something about that, in that Buddhism doesn't really talk a lot, it doesn't really posit a material universe out there. The Buddha never said an awful lot about that. So he never really said a lot about the objective world. But what he did talk a lot about, and as far as I'm aware, is that how we create a world, how through our perception, through our views, through our habitual ways of seeing things and habitual emotions that we go down, we do create a world out of these different aspects. So a simple example of this would be if it's raining. Yeah. So the other day it was raining. I was really pleased that it was raining because Irene has planted some trees in my front garden, and it meant I didn't need to water them. So that was really nice. It was really fortuitous that it rained that day. So it meant I didn't have to water my trees. But if you were out in that rain and getting wet and cold, you wouldn't be enjoying it. Yeah, it'd be quite a different experience. Yeah, you'd be in quite a different world, as it were. So the same thing can be happening and perceived in quite different ways. So objectively, the same thing is happening, but what we bring to that experience can be quite different. So I'm just using this as an example for how our own mental processes create a world. We're always trying to make sense of our experience. The Buddhist term samnya is an aspect of our mental process. It's a mental process that is always there, trying to make sense, labeling, making sense, trying to understand experience. This is going on all the time. But that thinking is influenced by our views and by what emotional worlds we tend to live in. So the very first verses of the Dhammapada say experiences are preceded by mind, led by mind, and produced by mind. If one speaks or acts with an impure mind, suffering follows even as the cartwheel follows the hoof of the ox. So the impurity that's been talked about is not necessarily a kind of moralistic impurity, but it's an impurity maybe of understanding, of delusion, that kind of delusion that Arinavata was talking about yesterday, where you kind of get taken in by the magic show. You don't actually see all the mechanism that's creating it. So we get deluded. We see something that's not necessarily really there. And the other impurity, you could say, is one of how skillful our emotions are. Yeah, how skillful our heart is. So depending upon how skillful our heart and how clear our mind is, then we're living in a bit of an impure world. And if we remove those veils of unskillful emotion and mental confusion, then how we experience is one of just delight and bliss. Yeah. So that's what we can uncover through our practice. But coming back to the wheel of life, when you think about a wheel these days, you think of something that runs very smoothly. You maybe think about how on your car you chose to get, alloy wheels, very lightweight wheels with, the low profile tires that will just go very fast and corner really well. So we tend to think, oh, a wheel's going to run really smoothly. But the wheel of life doesn't actually run very smoothly. It turns, but it's very wobbly. It's like one of those gyroscopes that you set spinning, on your tabletop. And at the beginning, it's kind of all over the place, yeah, from side to side and up and down. The wheel of life can run smoothly at times, but often it's quite bumpy, yeah. So it's good to remember that maybe we assume a wheel is just going to turn round and round quite effortlessly, but the wheel of life doesn't always do that. It doesn't always turn smoothly. And part of that bumpiness is a kind of complexity to our experience. So when we think of the 12 links around the rim of the wheel and that spiral path, everything can seem very clear and as if, oh, everything's very sorted. But then when you step into the world, you've got this complexity of things happening, and our job in a way is to recall and to remember the clarity of the teaching, the clarity of the teaching of the 12 links, and how in that realm of contact, feeling, and craving, we can just become quite habitual, or we can become a bit more creative and find a more skillful way of going about our life. And the wheel of life has these 6 realms that we can inhabit. And maybe there's a 7th realm, that's possible. There might be another realm that you could experience. So it's good to remember that. Some of the wheels that we see there's only 5 realms. So 2 of the realms are sometimes put together. But let me just say what the realms are. The normal realm, there's normally 6 realms, and these are the hell realm, starting at the bottom, as it were. The hell realm, the realm of intense suffering, where predominantly hatred has resulted in just very difficult mental states, intense suffering, to the point that we're just really overwhelmed by that suffering. So it's not just like a toothache that might come and go. It's something that's there all the time. And then there's the hungry ghost realm. So this is the realm of neurotic desire, compulsion, and addiction, where we're driven by desire, but blindly, and we end up looking for satisfaction in the wrong place. And so our desire leads to suffering because we're looking in the wrong place for satisfaction. And then there's the animal realm. And this is the realm of biology and instinctual consciousness operating. So you could say that in the realm of the animals, it's predominated by just wanting to survive, wanting to eat, wanting to procreate, wanting the species to carry on. And there's a lack of a broader awareness. So animals don't have such a strong sense of time, for instance. They don't have such a strong sense of what's going to happen tomorrow or the day after or a week later. And then there's the human realm. And in the human realm, there's a degree of complexity. And I find it really interesting how in lockdown times, I've spent a lot of my time on my own. I live on my own. And then when I go out and meet friends or go down to the waterfront and I see people, I find it incredibly stimulating. And it reminds me of the complexity, in a way, of human interaction. A lot goes on. Human society is incredibly complex. There's a really complex thing going on there when we are in relationship to other human beings. And there is this possibility of self-awareness, of choice, and also of a kind of sense that our actions will have consequences for ourselves and for others. So that requires almost a degree of abstraction in a skillful way to know that if I do something, something will happen in the future that will be conditioned by what I've done in the past. But this is the whole area of the human realm. And then there's the realm of the gods. And the realm of the gods is that realm of prolonged delight, real intense pleasure, aesthetic appreciation. So you could see these realms as states of mind, but you could see them if you're in that state of mind repeatedly and for a prolonged period of time, then that will become a world, as it were, yeah. So something that gets repeated and repeated almost solidifies, a mental state can solidify into a world. And that can happen, and yeah, that's how that can happen. And in the wheel of life, well, I guess we're probably all kind of attracted to the God realm. Yeah, well, we want to be up in the God realm, whatever that means for us. We want to. We're motivated for pleasure as human beings. There's a strong principle of moving towards pleasure. So the God realm's intensely attractive. But the Buddhist tradition says that, well, even in the God realm, it's not, it has its drawbacks. It has its drawbacks. And one of the ways that I think Buddhism, well, in Buddhism, we've got the central teaching of the Four Noble Truths. And part of that is to just recall what is the limitation? What is the sense of limitation, even in a really good place? Because when you're in a really good place, the Buddhist tradition says, in a way, you could be somewhere even better. Yeah. So what's the drawbacks? What's the limitation of what's going on? Because there's more that's possible. And until we really begin to inhabit those more and more deeply satisfying, contented worlds, then there will be an element of us that's dissatisfied, that will be seeking for something a bit more. So there's the six realms. The realm of hell, intense suffering, the hungry ghost realm of neurotic desire and addiction, the realm of the animals where biology and instinctual consciousness operate, the human realm, the realm of self-awareness, of ethics even, of wisdom, and the God realm of intense and prolonged delight. So I'm just going to move on to looking at some examples of the six realms from different depictions and different wheels of life. It's a really good thing to do, just to go online and Google the wheel of life, and many of them come up, and you get some really traditional wheels of life that are maybe of a Tibetan nature or an Indian. We've got Indian imagery, but we're also beginning to get ones that have Western symbolism in them as well. And I think that brings home to us that in our worlds, these realms are happening in our world, in Ipswich, in Suffolk, in east of England. Yeah, some very real. We have to really take this teaching on board. We have to apply it in our own worlds. Does it apply? Does it make sense in our own world? So here we go. So this is a PowerPoint for a wee while, so I'll just. So the six realms. So in a way, we could spend the morning just looking at all the different images that we can get of the Wheel of Life and just drawing a lot from it. So this is quite a modern one, and it takes a wee bit of looking at, but almost like top right in the top, maybe we've got the realm of the gods. Then the next one looks to me like it could be the human realm, where you've got people going about their business, but people dying and being looked after. And then below that, there's almost like an animal realm where people are just going about mindlessly watching television, eating and drinking. And then below that, very bottom, you've got that painful situation. If your parents are arguing, crikey, your world falls apart and splits open. So it's really hellish when that happens. And then going round clockwise, the next one is that the realm of the January sales or the Black Friday, where everybody desperately trying to get the bargain, get the dopamine hit from buying something. Then as we go up, this is a bit different actually, this one. I think this is the realm of the Asheras, the warring gods, where it's like there's just intense desire, neurotic desire, but it's the power of the alluring form. Often the Asheras are seen as male figures that are warring, but I think there's a masculine power, and yeah. So here we go. We're much more traditional Wheel of Life. This one was being drawn by Sadaraja, who started tree ratting activities in Ipswich in 1985. And he drew this so that people all across the tree ratting world in different cultures could make sense of it. So that it's not just Indian or Tibetan iconography. So looking at it in a wee bit more detail, let's go to the Hell Realm. To start with the Hell Realm, yeah, get the pain over first. So this is the realm of intense suffering. So almost unimaginably, too much there. So the Hell Realm. Here the hateful dogs of war have been let loose and a bloodlust is unleashed. Terrible anguish follows. Suffering of all conceivable and inconceivable forms. Too horrible to really detail. And yet compassion compels the Buddha to go down to these depths and bring whatever balm he can. In this realm, your only choice is for someone to stoop low to reach out and help you up out of the mire of hell. Terrible place to be. So let's not stay there for too long. The realm of the hungry ghosts. So again, just a realm of neurotic addiction, spiritual bankruptcy. So like some cheap and tawdry soiled seaside amusement arcade with its flashing lights and haunting spell of actually winning something where we know is we're ultimately going to lose. Where you know the only outcome is ultimate loss. Unintelligent desires drive beings in the realm of the hungry ghosts to despair, eating food that turns to excrement when it touches the tongue, the wish for nourishment becoming poison and fire. And yet compassion again compels the Buddha to enter here and bring the realistic food that will indeed nourish. The animal realm. Here there are sights and beings of great beauty, strength, intelligence. And yet when it comes down to it, it is nature red in tooth and claw. Biological instinct for shelter and food, procreation, take up our time in this realm. Here the Buddha brings a book. The Buddha holds a book, offering a book to the animals. So what does that symbolise? What are the benefits of bringing clear thinking to life? What is it that evolves instinctual mental processes into the more complex patterns that sustain self-awareness? The human realm, the realm of self-awareness, of a moral compass. A realm that actually human beings have only partially colonised. We're there really only part of the time. We also have access to being in the realm of the hell realm, the hungry ghost realm, the animal realm. We're not always fully conscious. So it's still, for most of us, a realm that we have to attain. So the job here is to attain that humanity more and more. Move away from just instinctive patterns. Here, the Buddha talks and tells the advantages of a spiritual life, of the life that truly does bring ease and deep contentment, of deep delight and inner freedom. The Buddha walks among humans, teaching we can be free. The next realm is the realm of the warring gods, the Titans, driven by desire that's turned into envy because they cannot appreciate the fruits of the tree of life. So just to the left of this segment, you can see the trunk of a tree. So the trunk and the roots of the tree are in the realm of the warring gods. But the fruits and the flowering of the tree happen in the realm of the gods. So the roots and the trunk of the tree of life are in the realm of the Titans, but the heavenly fruits drop and flourish and fall somewhere else. So here the delusion that strength and power alone can bring delight dominates. The Titans see what they want, but they're ever unable to have their wishes come true. And this drives these beings to desperate war, to even deny others the delights that they themselves seek. So you'd rather destroy something rather than let somebody else delight in it. So here, the warrior Buddha wields a sword of truth, a weapon that reveals the source of frustration as an inner emptiness and lack that can never really fully appreciate, but only wishes to possess and have a smash and grab on delight and pleasure, which doesn't work. So the fierce sword of the Buddha slices through this delusion. The God realm, the realm of intense delight, but a realm that's forgetful of impermanence, forgetful about living a skillful life, about creating the conditions that lead to pleasure and deep delight. But here, the beings delight deeply in the exquisite fruits of the tree of life, forgetting that merit is their merit that allows them to appreciate. And this merit has a use-by date. Sooner or later, their day pass to this heaven runs out, and tougher, more demanding days are coming. Only something delightful that speaks of impermanence will get their attention. So here, the Buddha plays the haunting melody of impermanence. So we've got somebody playing the melody of impermanence. See if you think this works for you. So one of the things we have to remember where we're in the thick of life is that for a practice we can consider which realm are we in a particular moment. Are we in the realm of the gods? Are we in the animal realm? Are we in the human realm? And the Wheel of Life gives us a suggestion about how to go about practicing in each of these realms. Yeah, everything is arising and dependent upon conditions, no matter whatever realm you're in. So there is a way to find the spiral path in each of these different realms. So if you're in the hell realm, then what's needed is a balm that just alleviates the pain. If you're in the realm of the hungry ghosts, it's a food that will actually nourish you, something that will sustain you. In the realm of the humans, in the realm of the animals, it's education. It's something that brings about something more reflective, more self-aware. In the human realm, it's about becoming more fully human and then even transcending the human experience with some deep spiritual awakening. In the war, in the realm of of the warring titans, which often can be, I think, social media. Often there's a lot of polarization goes on in social media. People unable to really see another perspective. So that intense polarization is, in a way, the warring gods. So what you need there is the sword of truth, something that's strong enough to cut through those fierce, strong emotions, revealing something that's really objectively true, a bigger perspective. And then, of course, in the realm of the gods, just remembering that we've got great freedom when we're in the God realm. And, well, we can practice even in the God realm. Take advantage of the freedoms that we've got, the appreciation of beauty, seeing beauty as impermanent. So things do move on. So just like the reading last night, we can see that our existence on the Wheel of Life can be like a journey. We're going through these different realms of life. So there's just this, you could even call it a prayer. When through intense ignorance I wander in samsara, on the luminous light path of deep wisdom, may the Buddha as guide go before me. May the wise muses always protect me. Help me to cross life's dangerous pathway and bring me to perfect awakening.